SOCOM just announced that they are moving to the 6.5 Creedmoor, which is a huge announcement. I mean, it's the first time in the modern era of sniping that the 308 Winchester has been replaced.
Well, you know, that is huge, and that's a big story, but how long have they been working on it, and how did this come about?
Well, the gentleman who started the project and did the majority of the testing is a good friend of mine, and he's obviously been a special operations sniper for a couple of decades, and moved into he was working in a unit where they could do their own research and development and procure their own equipment. Whatever they thought was best and whatever they could justify to command, that's what they got. And so 2014, went to his first Precision Rifle Series match and took his 308 and thought, I'm an experienced guy, I'm a confident shooter, I'm going to do well, and he was crushed. And I could see where guys were making mistakes, but they were still just clobbering me, and they were all shooting 6 and 6.5 millimeter cartridges. So he came back from that match, and it motivated him. He said, hey, look, that means that we can do what we do better if we just fix our equipment. And one of his friends and fellow snipers was a big F-class shooter, and he'd been telling him for a long time, hey, let's do 7mm 08s. They both sat down and said, look, it's not about finding our pet cartridge, it's about finding the right cartridge. And so everything was looked at. 6s, 6.5s, 7s, didn't matter if it meant new guns, didn't matter. Whatever had the best data was what they were going to go with. You know, if they could have chosen off pure performance, they would have taken a 6mm. But the barrel life was too short.
Right.
They looked at internal ballistics, barrel life, external ballistics, which is ballistic coefficient, muzzle velocity, and then lastly, terminal performance, right? There was a lot of screeching when they said, we're leaving the 308. Everybody said, how can we go to a smaller diameter bullet? It won't kill as well as the 308. And so there was a lot of education. We'll pulled in the gel blocks. When you're shooting a match bullet, it needs velocity to perform. The 308 doesn't have a lot of velocity. The 6 and the 6.5 millimeters do. They did all the testing, logged it, put it in front of the command, and they said, you want to know what the sweet spot for us is going to be? The 6.5 millimeter. And there were two cartridges, the 260 and the 6.5.
Well, you know, I mean, ballistically, they are just almost identical, but one significant difference is with that slightly shorter case, the Creedmoor case is better suited to heavier bullets.
Bingo. It is better suited to heavier bullets. It was designed around long bullets.
Right.
The 260 takes a long bullet, puts most of it in the case. But the problem was, at the time, the 6.5 Creedmoor was only made in one spot. And if the factory, Hornady's factory, blew up, there's no components, there's no ammo. And then there was the theoretical advantage that the 260 shoulder angle would feed better out of a semi-auto. The day they did the reliability testing for the feeding, my buddy told me, he's like, Tom, you could have run the test the next day and it would have said the 6.5 Creedmoor fed more reliably. They were splitting hairs, but they said 260. So 260 initially won. Testing continued for a couple more years, and they realized that the advantages of having a case that was designed around that long VLD, and then 6.5 Creedmoor production kicked up everywhere, brasses everywhere, bullets everywhere. They finally just said, you want to know what? The 6.5 Creedmoor is for us.
Well, you know, that's really big news, and in all of our recent conflicts, the special operation community has been so important, and it's probably going to be equally important in times to come. So it's really important that these guys have what they want and the best they can possibly have. And now they got the 6.5 Creedmoor, and hey, this is going to get really interesting as we see this employed in the field.